So after the 1920 bushfires, all the Gippsland and the border, New South Wales, was all burnt. So our traditional, like our yam, our jarnjaks, all the traditional, the old campsites were all burnt in far east Gippsland, in our area. And we were just lucky. I was lucky. I had some original jarnjaks from an old campsite on the Monero tablelands. The first thing I wanted to do was regrow our traditional jarnjaks. The women used to grow them all along the ancestral trails, and they would burn best part of the year. Get the soil ready, plant the little tubers, and next year when the family came back on their ancestral walks and to do the ceremonies, there'd be plenty of food. See, the best thing about this yam garden is the seeds are self-sowing, so there's next season's food supply coming through. On the ancestral trails, because we needed so many, to feed all the different groups that would visit, we had to plant a lot more food. That's what the little tubers look like, the little baby ones. And we'll plant them, not just one or two, we plant hundreds of them. And in the next season, they will have grown like that, down quite big. And we'd have plenty of food. But we wouldn't eat like the yam by itself. These could be steamed, so we steamed them in a women's woven basket, and you could roast them on the coals. They're pretty tasty. I wouldn't suggest eating too much of the leaves. The best food is in the tubers, and they grow like big. And the women will go out and they'd have big sheets of bark and have, like big piles of food and take it back into camp. And then they'd eat the yams, but sometimes by themselves. They'd have wild garlics and wild onions and wild cherries and wild berries, and they'd have a mix of foods. Like we had our women's site, so we'd plant the yams with the other fibres and medicines and foods around the water holes. So they like water. They don't like too much sun. I guess you have to look after them. So even though these are growing and looking after themselves, we still have to get up there. Like they like water and you have to water them. You can't rely on Mother Nature to keep them alive. If it doesn't rain, it's not good for them.